Greetings and welcome back to the Casual Wargamer for Grotmas Day 7. This is actually our Let's Talk Deathwatch, since Day 7 of Grotmas has been the new Deathwatch index. So, Deathwatch. Historically, I'm not sure when Deathwatch first made an appearance in Warhammer 40,000. I don't remember them in first or second edition, and I'm not even sure I remember them being mentioned in third, but they must have been. Fourth edition saw the release of Witch Hunters and Demon Hunters codices, which was Sisters of Battle and Grey Knights respectively, but nothing for Deathwatch. I'm fairly certain Deathwatch never turned up as an army until, my brain wants to say 7th edition. Might have been 6th. But my brain wants to say 7th. Correct me, please, if you remember when Deathwatch as an actual army in 40k became a thing. The references to them as the militant arm of the Ordos Xenos have been around for a long time. I know some people sort of gripe at that. They are technically separate from the Ordos Xenos, but they are and always have been sort of like the militant force that they can call upon to deal with alien threats. Although generally I find they're not just alien hunters, they deal with whatever the Inquisition wants them to deal with. So, they don't seem to be especially popular. In fact, I know two people with a Deathwatch army. One of them is our local store owner, Mr. Julian. Hello. And the other is my friend Jamie, who has a very small Deathwatch army, which he started a long time ago and never got around to finish. In fact, he was showing me some pictures of them earlier this evening. What are my thoughts on them? As I think they should have been an army a long time ago. I think when Witch Hunters and Demon Hunters came out as codices, there should have been a Deathwatch rule set for them as well. I think ultimately at the time Games Workshop expected people to play them under just Space Marines. But they're obviously a bit different to that. So, but let's just go through this particular little thing. There isn't a lot to this. That's the other thing I should probably put out. I did a video about 3 or 4 months ago where I said that Deathwatch aren't dead. Games Workshop went, Games Workshop never actually said it. The community said it. Oh, there's no more Deathwatch. They're all just going to end up being part of the Agents of the Imperium. Because Agents of the Inquisition then, but Imperial Agents book. And so they're not going to get a codex. I disagree. I think you are going to get a codex. It might not be under 10th. I hope it is, but I doubt it. I think you will certainly get one under 11th. We have had people go, it was our grumbles and our rants that made them do this index. I'm only 50-50 with that. I'm on the fence. I think they would have put this out anyway. Really, really am certain of that. Because they're not going to get rid of this army. I know it's not the best selling and what have you, but if Grey Knights and Sisters of Battle can both be in Agents of the Imperium and have their own books, why can't Deathwatch? As I say, I don't think you'll see them under 10th. I certainly think you will see a Deathwatch Codex in 11th edition. Hopefully it will be 10th. But I think the problem is the combination kill teams where you had some really strange unit compositions were probably quite difficult to balance and difficult to balance points wise. Detach a unit that was made up of like 3 Terminators, an Outrider, and 3 Intercessors is a bit weird. I know that's how they operate, but I think trying to make that balance out and work properly is the reason why we probably haven't got a codex for them in this edition. But we have this index. And I do think it is slightly better than what we had before. Deathwatch players will probably disagree. I do have a little bit of grumble about how they've done things in this. It's a very minor grumble and it doesn't mean anything in the scheme of things. But it really is just a niggle in my brain. But let's have a look. So your army rule for the Deathwatch army is basically called kill teams, and it's if you have a unit made up of models with different toughness, you use the average score, which is what you would have done anyway. And if you stick them in a transport, you still have to follow the restrictions on model size for whether you can fit a unit in a transport. Simple, does what it says on the tin. It's the detachment rules that are going to make the difference. And the Blackspear Task Force is back. It comes with a set of restrictions. So you can include, your army can include any Adeptus Astartes Deathwatch units, but cannot include any Astartes units drawn from any other chapter. So you can take anything from the Space Marine Codex, but you can't take epic heroes, and you can't take army-specific things like Fenrisian Wolves or Sanguinary Guard, things like that. You've got to be generic Marine units and the Deathwatch ones that come in this index, which is fair enough. With the exception of Kill Team Cassius in Legends Agents of the Imperium, you cannot include any Agents of the Imperium Deathwatch units. That's fair enough. You're playing Deathwatch after all. Doesn't stop you taking the Sisters of Battle, the Grey Knights, or the Inquisitors as allies, though. This is fine. And you can still take knightly allies because of the Knights rules. Then there is a caveat that says you cannot include any of the following in your army: assault squad with jump packs, attack bike squads, devastator squads, land speeder storms, relics terminator squads, scout bike squads, scout squads, scout sniper squads, tactical squads, terminator assault squads, and terminator squads. Deep breath. So basically you have, with the exception of the bikes and the land speeders, because they've basically been pushed out of the basic Marine Codex, you can take anything from the Marine Codex. So you want to take a Hellblaster squad, you can have a Hellblaster squad. You want to take an Outrider squad with an ATV, you can do that. You want a Land Raider, you want the Storm Talon and Storm Raven gunships, you can take them. You just can't take anything that already has its own entry effectively in this index, which we will come to. So you still have a lot of options. You can still take your Redempted Dreadnoughts and Ballistas and Invictus Warsuits and all this sort of stuff. It's all good. And I do know that under the previous index, there were a lot of Deathwatch players that I saw online and on social media basically saying the best way, I should say, to play Deathwatch was with regular units. The kill teams were nice because they come with some special rules and they give you these combinations. But realistically, just taking the squads of Space Marines worked better for them. I also saw counter arguments that said, the complete opposite, or what is the point of doing that when you have kill teams, which is what the army is based on. But that's for you to decide as a Deathwatch player. Your detachment special rule is called Mission Tactics, and it's a little bit like the regular Space Marine doctrines. You have 3 tactics that you can choose from, and one at the start in your command phase. You can pick one, and each one can only be used once. You have the Furor, Malleus, and Purgatus tactics. The Furor basically means all of your weapons equipped by Astartes units in your army have sustained hits 1. So when you need to gun down a squad of models, especially lightly armored stuff, gaunts, guardsmen, whatever, you've got a chance to do it. The Malleus tactics gives them lethal hits. You need to get through that monster, through the armor. This is a chance to wound them. And lastly, the Purgatus tactics is when you score a critical hit, you have precision. So when you really need to bump off that character leading a squad, this is how you do it. So, in fact, oddly, I would quite like these options in a regular Space Marine army. I think they would be rather handy dandy. But hey ho, there you go. Stratagems. So, like everybody else, you have 6 specific stratagems. One of them is Armour of Contempt because you are a Space Marine. You have Adaptive Tactics, which is similar to a Space Marine one, where you can basically pick one unit to have either the Furor, Malleus, or Pagatus tactics, regardless of whether one of them is in effect already or there is no tactics in effect. I'm going to comment one thing about this that does bug me. This stratagem, your 3 special ammunition, and your site-to-site teleportation, which is your 6th thing, all have the prerequisite of 2 kill teams or 1 Astartes. It's all, this one is 1 kill team or one other Astartes unit. Your 3 specific ammo rounds are just kill team. And site-to-site teleportation is 2 kill teams or 1 Astartes infantry unit. So basically, they are pushing you to play the kill teams. You've obviously still got your rulebook generic stratagems, but they are pushing you to play the kill teams if you want to gain the benefit of these stratagems. And fair enough, that's what they want to do. That's how the army is kind of expected to play. Personally, I would have made it so it had to be, or at least specifically for the special ammo, I would have had it had to be specifically an infantry unit. So you couldn't go around with Kraken rounds, for example, on tanks and so forth. But there you go. So yes, you have 3 ammo specifics, which are Hellfire rounds, which basically douse you with acid, which gives the unit, providing the weapon doesn't have devastating wounds, it gives them anti-infantry 2 and anti-monster 5. And these have the restrictions. You can't apply it if you've already applied Hellfire, Kraken, or Dragonfire rounds already. So that's a nice one for dealing with infantry and hopefully whittling down maybe the last few wounds on a monster. The Kraken rounds increase the AP by 1 and improve the range by 6 inches. Nice. Now, Dragonfire rounds, my brain is trying to remember this, but the description of this says that Dragonfire rounds are designed to explode just before contact, saturating foes in basically in searing gas and flames. I actually remember a long time ago, so it probably has changed, but Dragonfire rounds used to be like incendiary rounds that burst and inside the target and burnt them alive from the inside out. When did that change? But in this instance, it basically gives the unit assault and ignores cover. When did that change? And lastly, you have site-to-site teleportation, which I mentioned before. 2 kill teams or 1 Astartes infantry that is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy models, and you basically pick them up, put them back into strategic reserve, and if they don't have deep strike, where are we? If models in those units do not have deep strike ability, they have the deep strike ability. Brilliant. Again, I would really like that in a normal Marine list. That would be really handy dandy. So you've got some nice stratagems. Very geared towards you fielding kill teams over anything else, but no problem. Enhancements. You have the Thief of Secrets, which improves the strength, damage, and AP of the bearer's melee weapons by 1. At the end of the fight phase, if they've killed 1 or more enemy models, and then until the end of the battle, their strength, damage, and arm penetration increases by 2. That could get really, really silly, because it doesn't say it's capped. You could just keep adding. It's like the Judicia. If he keeps killing characters, his number of attacks goes up. I'm assuming this just caps at 2. It's got to. Because you tell me, but I think it's got a cap at 2, surely. But it doesn't specifically say, and someone might try and game that a little bit. You have the Osseous Key, which is applied to a Watchmaster or Tech Marine. I think this one's a little bit more corner case. You target an enemy vehicle in your opponent's shooting phase. You can't do it to a Titanic. It has to be within 12 inches and visible. it makes a leadership test. If it passes it, it gets -1 to its attack roll. If it fails, it can't shoot at all. I think I call it corner case because you've got to know that your opponent is going to be fielding enough vehicles to make this worthwhile. So I'm not sure why you would just take it for the sake of it. You kind of got to know. Probably a better one for Crusade, maybe. The Beacon Angelus. Models in the bearer's unit have deep strike. In addition, you can target them with rapid ingress stratagem for 0 CP. Nice. And lastly, the Tome of Ectoclades, Watchmaster or Captain, and basically you can have 2 O's a moment once per battle. Again, very, very nice. I don't think these have changed too much from the previous index. Okay. So, it then comes to the units. Now, normally in these little videos, I don't really go into the units so much because often it's a full book and this is very, very limited. But there are some things, like I said earlier, that niggle me a little bit. And I don't know why Games Workshop have done it. It's nothing important. I emphasize that right now. It's nothing important, but it bothers me. So I'm going to touch on these units. So upright, you have 2 characters. You have a basic Watchmaster and you have Watch Captain Artemis. Again, reading through comments online, I've seen people go, the Watchmaster's fairly bland. His spear is basically a 2 attack, 2 damage bolt gun without the rapid fire. In melee, he's quite good. The spear has lance, decent damage, decent strength, decent AP, and 6 attacks. But a lot of people have got, and he's got some nice abilities, but people have gone, generally, they don't want to field Watchmasters. I think because there's no options to upgrade him, he is just a guy with a Vigil Spear. He's a bit boring. And people saying in the various chats that I was reading that they are more likely to take something like the characters from the generic codex because they have more variety. But, you know, you tell me. Your one epic hero is Watch Captain Artemis. Personally, I don't rate him. Yes, he's handy dandy, and you're probably going to want to take him for the narrative reasons. I just think you've probably got better options in the generic characters. But you tell me. But that's your characters. Then we get the various Deathwatch squads. This is the important bit. So Deathwatch Veterans is your generic battle line unit. Variety of weapons that you can take. A nice 5 to 9 unit. You can mix and match the options. Lovely jubbly. Deathwatch Terminator Squad. So purely Terminators. And this is sort of something, you've got some compositions in other units, but it's nice to see that Terminators are not mixed in with the normal guys now. They are just a unit on their own, sorted. And I think you can combine here. You've got the shooty and the melee. You combine them together in one unit. Nice. Corvus Blackstar, nice. Good fast transport, get around the table. Then you've got the actual sort of kill teams. Now, this is where we start to get me going and grinding my teeth and going, why have you done it this way, Games Workshop? Okay, so the Talon Strike kill team comes as 1 sergeant with a jump pack, 2 to 9 kill team intercessors with jump packs. So these are your assault intercessors with jump packs from the codex. But you can also be joined by 0 to 5 kill team heavy intercessors with jump packs. And the kill team heavy intercessors with jump packs have assault bolters or plasma exterminators. They're inceptors. Why do you not just call them inceptors instead of heavy intercessors with jump packs? Why? it's the Fortis kill team. They do it again. This is your sort of like general little intercessor squad. Sergeant, 2 to 9 kill team intercessors, up to 4 kill team intercessors with plasma incinerators. You mean hell blasters. 1 to 4 intercessors with heavy bolt pistols. Fair enough. 0 to 4 intercessors with pyroblasters. You mean Infernus Marines. And then up to 2 kill team intercessors with super frag rocket launchers. You mean Desolators. Call them what they are. Kill team Desolators. Kill team Infernus Marines. Kill team Hellblasters. Why do this? See what I mean when I said it's a bit wiggy? I'll point out here, just before anyone goes, that's a massive squad if you put all that together. It's 10 models maximum. The Indomitor kill team. Okay, let's take a look at this one. 3 to 10 heavy intercessors. Nice. But you can add 0 to 3 heavy intercessors with power fists and 0 to 3 heavy intercessors with melter rifles for a maximum of 10 models. You mean aggressors and eradicators. Call them what they are, Games Workshop. Stop with this. Do you see what I mean when I say it's nothing important? It really is nothing important, but it's grinding my gears. It's twisting my melon, man. Why have you done this? Just call the unit, the models, what they are. They do the same team with the Spectre's kill team, which is basically your Phobos equivalents. I won't go into it because I'm going, with all this. Right. Thoughts on this? I'm glad we don't have any of the silly, weird combo units anymore. I know that that's how Deathwatch are perceived in the lore, but it was a sod to deal with on the table as somebody who has faced Deathwatch. Although I don't think I faced it under 10th. I think I've only ever played it under 9th. But it was irritating to deal with when you had like 3 Terminators, 3 Incessors and an Outrider, and all the wounds went on the really big tough guys before you could actually get through to killing anybody else. I do think kill teams now are probably the way to go, which is why they push it with this detachment. But I certainly do think there is a place for taking just general Space Marine units in here. There is still a lot of opportunity to do that. You shouldn't just be running them as kill teams. Kill teams are the primary, but a bit more variety on the table would be good in a Deathwatch army. There's lots of Deathwatch players out there now probably screaming at me. And fair play. I don't play Deathwatch. I've only ever played against them 7, 8, maybe 9 times ever. And they obviously do play differently to regular Space Marines. I just have a very different view. If I played them, I would play them in probably a very different way to most people. Let me know what you think. Is this index an improvement from the last one? What would you have done differently? Probably put the mixed combo squads back in. Would you or will you include much of the basic Space Marine Codex in here? Or would you stick to just maybe these guys and the Dreadnought and a Rhino or whatever? Let me know. And does this not calling a model in the unit by its actual name grind your gears, twist your melon, man, as much as it does me? I don't know why it bothers me so much, but it really does. When I was reading this the first few times, I really was... But hey-ho. So let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. I know I'm probably upsetting a lot of Deathwatch players, but it would really be helpful if you commented down below. Let me know yay or nay, agree, disagree, why not. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. Bear in mind that I look at all these things from a casual perspective, not the competitive viewpoint. So bear that in mind. But let me know one way or the other. Thank you for watching this, guys. It's dragged on a lot longer than I had intended. There are grumbles. But I'll see you in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. Take care, guys, and see you in the next video.